Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Guys on Sports. It's Wild Card Weekend, and we're here to make fantasy fun again. So we're already launched into our offseason program, which for us means way too early rankings for all your positional groups. We did quarterbacks last week. We're working on running backs this week. So we're going to give you our consensus top 12, and we're going to talk about it because obviously it wasn't consensus really, but we're going to give you our best consensus of the top 12 right now, not including rookies, obviously. I don't want to waste too much time, but before we talk about that, how you guys feeling about Wild Card Weekend? I know you got a big game today.
Big game.
I'm going to be watching. I don't know if I'm going to be hate watching or love watching yet. I'll see what happens when I sit down, how I feel. But how are you feeling?
I'm loving it, man. I think tonight we're going to see the reason why Chicago's missed Rome Odunze for the last 5 weeks. We got the Packers, 8 p.m. on Prime. I think it's primed to be a Chicago win in the Windy City. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm going to actually root for the Bears today. Like I don't love the Packers. I don't like Austin from our league of record. I'd like to see him whine a little bit, because that'll be fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't love the Packers.
Mark.
I don't love the Packers either. I say you guys probably feel this way too, because I think when you're like one of the older, more storied franchises, you have like a little wink and nod kind of competition with the other franchise. Like Steelers, I always have like a little thing with Bears, Packers, Browns.
Yeah, you're always.
There's a few teams where like
Detroit, even like if Detroit was playing in the champion.
I don't care about Detroit.
Yeah, but I mind because I think they're still story. They're old enough,
I don't know like that, but the Bears for sure, the Packers, Browns. Yeah. So I don't know. That's why I don't know how I'll feel tonight. Because then if you win, you get to gloat a little bit, and I don't know how good that is for my life. But yeah, I am excited. Great matchup. It reminds me of like when the Giants got the Cowboys in the playoffs. You get a divisional.
I do feel like it should be like 17 degrees.
Oh,
like it should be so cold.
Oh, it's going to be.
It's going to be.
It's going to be beautiful.
I'm excited.
8 o'clock game. 17 degrees by 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Chicago.
I'm very excited. The early game is what? Is that Texans? Or is that tomorrow?
Who is the early game?
It's got to be Jags, right? Jags Bills.
How odd is
Jags Bills? I think
is wild card weekend.
2
games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and we have a Monday night game. Like for those teams playing on Monday night, there's not a whole lot of rest period there. I feel like it's a very unfair treatment of the schedule.
Well, I mean, they do that all year, so yeah, I agree. I agree.
Man. We talk about the playoffs.
Moving on, let's talk about these guys, and hopefully, you made your playoffs. You went and you won a championship, and you probably had one of these guys on your team.
Rams Panthers
at
4:30.
Oh wow, that's I'll gamecast that one.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I'll just click on in the fourth quarter if it's close.
What too? It's kind of really odd though. Is like I'm kind of pulling for the Panthers just because I'm so damn tired. I'm so sick of the Rams.
I like Stafford though, and I like McVay.
I like Stafford.
I like Puka. I don't know, man. I like them.
I don't like McVay. Why don't
you like McVay? Jealousy. That's what that is. It's Rockies. The way you are as a person, I think I can see why McVay rubs you wrong.
Yeah, he's like I don't know. I'm a generation of act like you've been there before, and he doesn't act like he's been there before.
You two guys in a pond, somebody's got to go. There can only be one.
He's the younger guard. He's a good-looking, in shape guy. You have problems with those younger.
You're a little threatened.
And I'm a good-looking, little bit older guy.
You're a little threatened.
Younger coaches coming in and just ruling this thing.
Okay.
Ben Johnson.
All right,
here we go.
Arrogance.
We're gonna start at number 12. Our 12th ranked consensus ranked running back. That's all 3 of our rankings put together. If you don't know what consensus means, Saquon Barkley rings in the new year at RB12.
Yeah,
I didn't have him in my top 12. Not so much. A little bit of Barkley fatigue for me, and age.
A little bit of hate.
More. No. I do truly hate him, but more. It's more about the other guys I had on the list. To be honest, to be completely honest, I am factoring in a little bit of spice of Saquon due for injury kind of deal, expecting him to miss some time. But where'd you guys have him? Why'd you have him there? Talk to me.
It was easy. I had him at 12. I don't love the situation in Philadelphia. I think for a team that is they're number one in the NFC right now, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think that they're the
No, they're not number one.
Didn't they
they're
go
the 1 seed or the 2 seed?
Seattle's 1 seed.
Seattle's
Seattle,
1
yeah.
seed.
I just think there's a lot of questions about the Eagles going into next year, that offense. And I think Saquon's got a lot of tread off that tires.
What about you?
So Philly, just for clarification, is the 3 seed. The mighty Bears of Chicago are the 2 seed. That's why they play the 7 seed.
See, he's going to make me root against them.
Yeah,
he's going to make me root against them.
So give us your thoughts on Barkley, please.
What a fall from grace for Devin Singletary here, coming in at 12. I mean, Joe Shane was absolutely correct here in letting him go. No, but to be completely fair, Barkley at 12. We talk about running backs getting long in the tooth. Derrick Henry, he proved again this year that age is just a number. I feel like Barkley, with all the tread in the tires, though, I don't know whether it was the mastermind of Sirianni holding Barkley back this year, or if Barkley really did have father time catch up to him. But obviously, he did not give you the same fantasy output this year as he did last. Going forward in the next year, for me, that scares me, right? That's an absolute wild card. That's why I had him ranked at 10th. So he averaged out at 12 here. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm getting with him, and he's definitely not going to be one of the top 3 backs off the board for me like he has been in recent years.
Yeah, I think he let people down this year, and I'll be super quick on him so we can move on. The big thing with Barkley is he's been uneven season to season throughout his whole career. Great season, bad season, but he's approaching 30. I don't know if he's 30 yet. He's right there. A lot of tread on the tire, injury history. Don't know what that offense is going to look like next year. Drops him down. I think you guys agree he's moving to the back of the bus as far as the running back bus. I will mention the guy I did have at 12 because he's not on our list here. Did anybody else have somebody at 12 that didn't make the list? I think you did.
No, I'm going to talk about him next, though.
Okay, so I'll throw Breece Hall. I had at 12, beating out Saquon Barkley. I think it's a great season to kind of buy low on Breece Hall.
I agree.
Contract year, or they're going to franchise him. He's only 24, 2 years removed from the injury. I think it's a perfect setup for him to either go somewhere else or play on the franchise tag and be playing to get a bigger contract. I think he'll be motivated. I like that outlook for Breece Hall.
And the thing about Breece, he's got a lot of things going for him. His age, he just needs a team that's going to treat him like a Gibbs, like a Bijan.
Yes,
Like, he hasn't had that, and the Jets have been complete trash. And I'm saying that as a Browns fan.
Yeah.
So like, I think he's a guy you might get, and he might explode.
Yep. All right, moving on. At RB 11, I think we were all over the board on him here. But the soon to be second year running back in the great state of Nevada, Ashton Jeanty. Guys, where'd you have him? Why? Anybody?
Should we just keep the flow going? You want to start down there?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll do that. That's fine.
You know, he's one. I had him at 9. So I was a little bit higher on him than one of you.
Yeah.
I'm not a believer yet, but I've heard enough rumors that the offensive line coach in Las Vegas, who is Carroll's son, was so bad that Jeanty and Smith was actually pulling them in a room by themselves and almost drawn in the dirt. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he did at times seem to be good. My fear on the other side, Chip Kelly, who got fired, the best pure running back offensive coordinator in the league, I think, and they couldn't make it work. So that's a little bit of a fear, but I still think you got to give him that respect.
So I left Jeanty off of my list as well. Well, not as well, but I left Jeanty off of my list here for a lot of the reasons that you're speaking about. For me, I think there's just way too many questions in Vegas next year to have Ashton Jeanty be a viable top 12 running back. One of which is, what are they going to do with the quarterback position?
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's a quarterback in this draft class that's going to come out and really turn this franchise around. You have an offense that's unstable. You lost your head coach. There's talk that Geno Smith, is going to leave town as well, meaning that it's going to be that rotation of Aiden O'Connell and whatever rookie they do end up drafting. Max Crosby wants out of town, which tells me that their defense is in shambles, which tells me that the Raiders are going to be playing from behind a lot, which tells me they're going to throw the ball a lot, thus affecting JT's production as well. I left him off of my list in favor of Travis Etienne. I think Travis Etienne rebounded very well this year, and he's set up for a lot of success in that powerful Jags offense going forward.
Yeah, I had him at 6. I had him higher than anybody, and I think the complete opposite. I think that the lack of the quarterback, the bad defense, I think helps Genty. He had 55 receptions this year, 73 targets. I think no matter what they do going forward, they're going to build an offense around Genty, and wide receivers on the outside are developing still. I've seen enough, like the flashes you're talking about, where I think you just got to get him in the right scheme. He's not Jahmyr Gibbs, that's just electric. But I think he reminds me a little bit of the guy from Jacksonville, and I can't remember his name now.
Etienne.
No, not that guy. No,
Tulane.
Older guy.
For Taylor.
Guy in between them.
Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah.
Maurice Jones-Drew, Michael Turner, a little more stout, bigger body type. You get the legs going. I think he's one cut, breaks tackles. I like him. And I just like the usage next year. I think he's going to be the focal point of the offense. They might not be that good, but I think when they do score, it's primarily going to be him. We'll move on to 10. This one's interesting. Omarion Hampton is RB10 in our consensus ranking. Rocky, where did you have him and why?
So I had him, let me double check here real quick. I had Hampton at 11. I like him, and I liked when I saw him on the field, especially once he got cemented as kind of they were going to use him. I liked him a lot. I think that I feel like him the way you feel about Ashton.
Okay.
I think we're doing Omarion Hampton an injustice by having him at 10. I have him a little bit higher at 8. I really love him in this Harbaugh offense. He is the bell cow running back that Harbaugh seeks for his offense. When healthy, Hampton proved himself to be the man, both on the ground, and I think they can utilize him a little bit more in the passing game. Again, Harbaugh does like to play around the line of scrimmage a lot, although Justin Herbert does have a nice complement of receivers there where they can open it up, which I think even further means that defenses can't load the box, and I think Hampton's primed for a huge year.
Yeah, 9 games. He had 35 targets. So you can definitely see that tick up a little bit. Decent amount of touchdowns in those games, averaging about half a touchdown a game. What I really like about Omarion, he seems to be a bit of a throwback running back, and I think it fits Harbaugh's style really well. Where like he's all around. Who's the guy? I'm going to do comparisons again. He reminds me a little bit of Priest Holmes. I don't know if you guys remember watching him play.
Oh, yeah.
Not as big, but capable to catch the ball out of the backfield, good vision, strong in the hole. Like I like Omarion a lot, and I think it's a perfect marriage to the offense. I'm really looking forward to seeing that offense kind of hit another gear. Harbaugh, when he was with the 49ers, really had them humming with a quarterback that was a lot more cautious with the ball.
Yeah.
He's got Herbert there. I think they could really maybe in year 3 turn it up a notch, really get the running game going. I expect him to be over 1,200 yards rushing. I expect him to be all-purpose over like 1,600 to 1,700 if he stays healthy. Love Hampton. I had him at 11, so I guess selling him short in your book as well. But we'll move on. We'll see where we land on that. At 9, our consensus is Chase Brown. Rocky, where'd you have him and why?
Yeah, so I'm going to look real quick because I believe I had him a little bit higher than you guys. I felt like Chase was more, I had him at 8, actually.
Okay.
I like Chase Brown. I don't want to like Chase Brown. He very seldom I look at him and I'm blown away by it. But I think he is that guy that has enough skill.
He's an opportunist.
Yeah, in an offense that I know is going to feed him the ball. And I think that they've paid him enough to where he's the guy. He's going to be the CMC in Cincy. And he's not CMC at a talent, but he's going to get enough usage both in the air and on the ground to be a pretty good fantasy running back.
You're right. He's not CMC, but you know who he is? He's Austin Eckler, and he's Austin Eckler in Cincinnati. I have him at 11 only because I think Joe Burrow healthy next year. Joe Burrow likes to throw the ball. It's Jamar Chase's world, and everybody else in Cincinnati is just living in it. So you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. They're going to pass that ball around a bunch, but what Chase Brown does probably better than any other running back in the league is he gets out and he runs great routes too. So Chase Brown is a very viable receiver. You see them split him out wide. You see them put him in the slot. And he can run between the tackles. I mean, he to me is the new Austin Eckler. I had him at 11, so I probably did him a little bit of an injustice too. But again, I think it's because since he relies too heavily on the Burrow Chase connection.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I had him at 9, and the reason I had him at 9 and it wasn't higher is I'm really worried about the offensive line there. But to you guys' point, they throw the ball a lot. Chase Brown had 88 targets last season.
Yeah.
69 receptions, 5 receiving touchdowns. Hey, that is literally a third wide receiver on a good passing team.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, 232 carries to boot with it. So what he lacks in talent, he more than makes up for in volume. 88 targets, 232 touches. He'll approach 300 touches again next year. I have no doubt about it. Maybe next year after that, if you're in a dynasty, maybe you don't want to commit long term because I don't know that he's the strongest guy that could hold up to that load. But next year, yeah, 300 touches for a guy in a good offense. Give me that every day of the week, no matter how good or bad he is. We'll move on to spot 8 and RB8. Wow, I'm surprised at it. RB8 is Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving, Rocky. Where did you have Bucky Irving?
So I had Bucky Irving at 10 only because I think it's a little bit cloudy still in that backfield. But and last year was a mess because of the injury and then the rumors around something was off with Bucky Irving. You didn't know if it was like the guy didn't want to work hard or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when he was on the field, especially in 2024, and then when he was on the field in 2025, the guy produces. Bucky is a running back 1 for every reason we've mentioned about Brown and CMC and everybody else. So, yeah, I like him a lot.
Well, Phil, much like you, I am a fan of guys that receive heavy loads, and Bucky Irving is going to be that guy next season. I think that the running back room after this year actually gets a lot less cloudy because you saw Rachaad White, Sean Tucker. They put in a couple of good spot games here and there, but I just don't think that they're the reliable back that Bucky Irving is when he is healthy. Bucky Irving, again, another pass catching back out of the backfield that commands a lot of targets. Mayfield does like to work the ball downfield quite a bunch, but Mayfield's not above checking the ball down, and Bucky Irving is the perfect complement to that. Guy's good in pass blocking schemes, and he's going to receive 20 touches a game on the ground as well. I like Bucky Irving here at 8. I had him slightly higher at 7, but 8 is a perfect landing spot for Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I think I had him at 9 as well, so this is right in the wheelhouse. Bucky Irving, what can I say that you guys haven't said? One thing, I think that he's going to approach 300 touches again. I think the big thing with him this season, he missed 7 games. If we extrapolate that out, just rough math, he'd be at close to 60 receptions, close to 220 carry attempts, and the touchdowns are the big thing. I think the same way we have touchdown regression, I think we'll have touchdown progression for Bucky. He's going to get in the end zone more than twice on the season, so you could expect that to tick up, and that's going to pop him up a bit. I think you're going to get some good value if you traded for him last year, Rocky, and you have him next year. I think
I gotta hope so because I traded Bannon for him, and that scares the crap out of me.
If you look at the numbers, like Mark said, he's averaging around 20 carries a game. He's averaging probably around 3 to 4, probably more like 4 targets a game. Missing 7 weeks, 2 touchdowns. I expect all those numbers to go up. I think the future's bright for Bucky Irving. Go ahead. Sorry.
And the thing I like is I was a antagonist, I guess, maybe about Rachaad White. He was very clear in that he's not coming back.
Yeah.
Actually posted something showing him with his college roommate. Jaden from the Commanders.
Jaden
So,
Daniels.
Yeah, I was going to say Jaden. I don't know why, but Jaden Daniels. Yeah. So I do believe that it's a lot clearer of a clear RB1 for Bucky. And again, like I said, when he's on the field, you don't guess, is this guy a running back? He's a running back.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to running back 7. The rookie, second year, soon to be second year running back, Travion Henderson. Rocky, where'd you have him?
Yeah, I had him at 7, so I had him right exactly here. I would have ranked him higher if I was sure that Vrabel was going to feature him. And I can't figure out why he doesn't. Even in the last game of the season, he's non-committal, and they continue to use this RB by committee with Stevenson. Stevenson is producing. I'm not saying that Stevenson is bad, but Trevion is a beast. Like, he is a guy that any cut could lead to an 80-yard touchdown. My only guess is they're still concerned about him as a blocker in the pros, which is funny because coming out of college, he was the clear number 1. He was an awesome blocker. I think if he fixes that, he could be the RB1, but I had him at 7 because of that.
So let me tell you why Variable is non-committal, is because Ramondre Stevenson can produce 7 touches, I think it was, for 165 yards in that final week. To solidify the number 1 seed for the Patriots. They did get the 1 seed, right?
I think they're 1 or
Denver
2.
did.
Yeah.
Oh, Denver got. Oh, okay, yeah. So for the 2 seed, so I apologize. That is a true running back by committee. The reason why, and those committees scare me for fantasy football reasons, but the reason why I had Henderson on my list and I had him a little bit lower at 9 is because the guy is electric, and the guy is 1 cut from the end zone, like you mentioned, every time he gets the ball. He's going to get a heavy enough workload where that will still put him firmly in the top 12 running backs, even with the production that Ramondre is getting as well. I think Ramondre slides down the board slightly just because his receiving ability isn't as great as Henderson's, and his 1 cut gone ability isn't as good as Henderson's. But Ramondre Stevenson is the reason why Henderson is not higher on my board.
Yeah, same. But I think this is a problem that's going away. I think after next year, they could cut bait with Ramondre Stevenson, and they will. I think for that reason, you will see Travion get more opportunity next year. And just to buck your theory or your what you were saying earlier, I'll go from week 9, and this is just touches per game. Week 9, 20 touches for Travion Henderson. Following week 15, then we have I lost my spot already. I'm getting old. 24 the following week, 22 touches the following week, 15. 17, 6, which was a bad one. And we have 19 and 13, as to your point, for the last game of the season, which I think has more to do with them just kind of making sure he stays healthy. So he's hovering right around 18 to 20 touches a game this year with Ramondre Stevenson,
which is pretty much full time in the NFL.
It's about as close as you get to just being a Jahmyr Gibbs type player. So without being him, I think next year that slides more in his favor as he gets more experience, becomes better in their blocking schemes or whatever the issues were. They have to do that. They have to transition away from Ramondre at least a little bit, because he's not going to be there in the future.
I legitimately think in 2027 we're trying to talk
Top
ourselves out of having Travion in the top 4 running backs.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's a scary back. He's everything I thought he'd be, and he showed that he was able to stay healthy, which was a concern coming out of college.
Yeah.
In fact, some of the ones that weren't concerns, in fact, one of them actually had the worst rookie injury, Quinshawn. He seemed to be a sturdy back. I was unafraid of him, but
I mean, his was more of a freak. It's a dislocation in there. So, all right, yeah, I toyed with Judkins. Probably would have been on this list for me if he didn't sustain that.
No, I thought about throwing him in at 12.
Yeah, it's tough.
But there was just too many good guys.
Too late in the season, too, to injury.
Yes.
All right, at 6 we had old reliable CMC. Rocky, where did you have CMC and why?
I had him at 6, and
Okay.
you know what? They have him under contract another year. They've got a lot of money invested in him, and so they're going to continue to use CMC next year, even though we're starting to see the end. We are like his yards per rush definitely took a dive a little bit. Not a dive. He still was around the 3.5, 3.6, but it's his lowest year in a long time. He was injury free this past year, pretty much, but he's not far removed from a bunch of injuries. So I had trouble putting him any higher. But if he stays healthy, he's a guy that could sneak into that top 5.
So for me, he is 5. He's still on the right side of age, his age 30 season. And you know what, Rock? I'll take a wide receiver 1 at the running back position any day of the week.
Well, and I think you can make that case that he be that.
And he is absolutely that. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm sure he was over 100 receptions or right around. He gets 130, 140 targets in the receiving game every year. Oh, and guess what? He also touches the ball on the ground between 15 and 20 times. Has he slowed a little bit? I think so. I think he's lost a half step. I think he's not as dominant on the ground as he used to be. But let's face it, CMC has always and will always be characterized by his versatility. And that's why I have him at 5. He's a guy that's going to go out there and he's going to get you your points week in, week out.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I'm just wanted to look something up on McCaffrey. But yeah, I have McCaffrey at 8, so not too far off. Yeah, you guys said it all. I mean, the guy, the one thing with him is I think he's going to produce, but I just cannot see this workload continuing. Like 24 carries 1 week, 28 carries, and that's not counting, 6 targets, 24, 20, 22, 21, 23. That is a lot of carries for a guy at his age with his injury history. I think they're going to try to squeeze everything out of him. They paid him a lot. He doesn't have void years in his contract to 2028, so we don't even have that on the horizon. But he does. There is an out next season. If they cut him, they only have 6.8 in dead cap. They have 11.4 the next year if they cut him. Not saying they're cutting him, but I think they had to start being smart with how they use him because they do have to pay him even if they cut him the next couple of years. So, does he? I'll ask you guys. I'll throw this back out just really quickly. Do you think this continues? Like 22, 22, 24, 28 carries? Like,
I mean,
how do you sustain that?
if I'm the 49ers,
You got to invest in a young guy, right? Like a good.
that's right. Yeah.
They've done
Well,
it.
and they
haven't
got
found the
Isaac
guy.
or Isaac Garendo. Do they believe he's it? He
No,
keeps
they
getting
don't.
injured.
I don't think they do.
So you got to me, this next season, the only way that continues is if they're in the playoff hunt. If not, I think at some point during the season, you got to make that transition. And I think if I'm the 49ers, I'm trying to trade them to a team that's clearly in the playoffs at the end.
They need to have a replacement though.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at like Derrick Henry, DeMarco Murray situation where you got a guy that led the league in rushing the last 2 years. You got a young guy in there that could take the helm because I just don't know. And you can't cut bait on him because you got too much money tied in. I just think
you want to try to trade if you
it's
can.
a crazy. Who's going to trade for CMC though?
A playoff
next 2
team that
years.
is. So to me, it's a guy, it's a team, and I'm trying to think of a great example. Seattle, who's unsure of what they've got, and for the playoff run, they're willing to
That'd be
throw
quite a commitment though.
right, but they might throw like a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
And for San Fran, if they're not making the playoffs, it's a cash grab.
It's not a terrible contract because they extended and
That's
put
right.
those void years on the back.
Yeah,
and
and
spread it out.
and they could cut it, but there might be the guy that in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, makes the play. I get it.
See, but here's CMC is a conundrum because he's one of the only guys that there's never been a more organic transition to decreasing a workload from a rushing standpoint. The guy had 129 targets, which is the most that he's had since 2019.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And 102 receptions, again, the most that he's had since 2019. He again threatened
Almost 1,000 yards.
the
Yeah.
1,000
Yeah.
club for the second time, which would have put him in elite air. If not, he may have been the only back to ever
He
have
was
done
over 2,000 all
Or-
purpose.
more than once in his career,
and relatively quietly this season too. Sorry.
Yeah, and a lot of that was towards, thankfully towards the end of the year, I was absolutely loving what he was doing right around fantasy playoff time. But I don't think there's ever been, like I said, an easier transition to decreasing his touches from a running back perspective, but keeping him spry in the passing game.
17 touchdowns. Him being sixth on our list just speaks to the talent. With all the drawbacks and stuff with his contract and age that we talked about, he's still at 6 for us. So, I mean, much respect to CMC. Really putting on for the older fellas in the NFL right now. All right. So, RB5 is a guy much belabored and debated on this show for his explosiveness and percepted fragility, fragility, whatever one. Devon A-Chain of Miami, which is a place that is in upheaval right now. Where'd you have A-Chain and why?
So, it's weird. I'm looking at my, we had him at 5 collectively. I had him actually at 4.
Mm-hmm.
He did stay healthy this year. He did look really good. He didn't look frail. And he is the type of back that can be featured as a pure RB1 and get both receptions and rushes. The reason he was where he was with me is still, I don't consider him the top echelon of backs. I don't like the situation in Miami. They just cut bait with both their GM and their coach. And I do think this begs a discussion that we might need to have about what coach do we think ends up where? Because I think that matters.
That's fair. No.
Incoming coach, incoming GM. He's not going to be the guy they drafted, not going to be the guy that they picked. If he's any kind of prima donna, they might cut bait or do something stupid like Gibbs, where he was traded. There's a lot of unknowns, so I couldn't go higher.
Who was traded?
Was it Gibbs? No,
Not
Gibbs
Gibbs.
wasn't traded. Yeah. Swift was traded.
Swift, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so to me, there's a lot of unknowns here.
You have him at 4 still, though, so right?
I did, because when you see him run, you can't say anything bad about the guy.
I feel bad for Devin A-Chain. I don't know what more he has to do to prove to you that he is the top echelon back.
He's got to not be 5'9".
This guy, Devon A-Chain, is what Trevion Henderson will be in 2 years. He is the guy that does make the one cut and he's gone. He's electric every time he gets the ball. The only reason why I have him at 6 is because there is some uncertainty in Miami. However, the rumblings that I'm hearing, I think bodes well and could actually move A-Chain into the top 3 producing running backs next year if there is some fire to the smoke that is, what's his face? Oh my God, why did I just blank on his name for crying out loud? No. Oh my God.
Hill?
The quarterback for Baltimore.
Tua? Oh. Lamar Jackson.
Lamar. Oh my God, I wanted to say Jamar. Lamar Jackson. And what a great segue too, man. Oh, I totally fumbled that. Anyway, cool. If Lamar Jackson goes to South Beach, if he takes his talents to South Beach, look for Devin A-Chain to be a younger Derrick Henry. Not in physicality.
Yeah, we get it.
But Lamar is going to open up even more lanes for a guy that already takes advantage of smaller lanes.
Yeah.
I think that A-Chain could potentially hurdle into the top 3 if Lamar does come to town.
Fair enough. All your concerns for the injury were put to bed this season. Doesn't mean it extends to next season, but this season, he was healthy. Here's the thing I don't get from your perspective. You have him at 4. He's produced like a number 1 running back. He missed a game this season, right? So 16-game season for him. 323 touches. That's our running back 1. 238 carries, which is not nothing. That's a lot. 85 targets, 67 receptions, 12 touchdowns on the season. Didn't miss a game he missed the last game because of injury, which is more like if they were playing for the playoffs, I'm sure he would have played. Yeah. As long as he's not injured, I think he's right there with
that's why I put
Gibbs
him at, That's why I put him at 4. The only thing he could do to win me over is
he won you over. If you have him at 4, he won you over.
He won me over from a straight stats. But
that's all,
if you're asking me, am I drafting him personally at 4?
Yeah.
If there's any other option,
that's the 4th off the board. So you're taking.
I'm not.
So who you taking?
So just off that list, I'd probably much rather take CMC, much rather take Henderson. Definitely want to take Bucky Irving over H.
over him. Okay.
Yeah, I put H.A. at 4 because of his stats.
Yeah.
This is what he is. They say he's 5'9". He's really 5'8". They say he's 190.
Why do you hate the Short Kings?
He's really 185. I just think there's a greater chance of injury.
There
than
might
a guy
be, but
like
he's played the whole season this year. So.
he did first time all in his entire career.
Is it his 3rd season?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but still, 2 other seasons he missed
That's fair.
substantial games.
So next year's is deciding the rubber match.
Right. Yeah.
So moving on at running back 4, we have Mr. James Cook, brother of Delvin Cook. Rocky, where'd you have him? Why?
Better brother.
I had him at 5. But to be honest, I like him better than even A-Chain. So like, but I was trying to be unbiased. Like I was really trying to be unbiased when I put it. So
yeah,
there's
didn't work.
Yeah, nothing not to like about James Cook.
Your bias is showing.
He's definitely a little bit bigger. He's got that one cut ability. He's a great receiver out of the backfield. Honestly, like CMC, runs a slot route better than a lot of slot receivers in the NFL. Yeah, I love James Cooks.
As do I. So my top 4 is exactly as we have it up there now. James Cook to me, I was huge on James Cook the year before he exploded. And I said, this is a guy that we all have to watch out for because he is, in fact, going to be the guy at some point in Buffalo. And thankfully, I was on him early, so I've been on him ever since then. I love having James Cook on my teams. He seemingly never lets me down. As far as the eye test is concerned, I think the only way that I can describe it is I have never seen a back recently more explosive through that first level while still eyeing the second level to make that cut that gets him through the second level.
He's good at setting up.
It is it's difficult to put into words.
I got a perfect comparison for you.
Before you, it's like you blink and he's at the linebacker. He's at the linebacker. God damn, dude! I keep losing my. Anyway.
Yep.
He's at the linebacker level in the blink of an eye, and he's already got his next plan.
Yeah.
And then he's outrunning DBs. Like the guy is just between toughness between the tackles, the elusiveness outside of the tackles, the vision. I mean, honestly, he is top 3 all round back. I just think that the 3 higher than him will produce a little bit more in fantasy.
So I'm going to put that succinctly for you. I think that James Cook, what he's trying to say, has great bursts through the hole.
Yeah.
Great field vision to kind of on that next level to know where he's going once he gets through the hole. It's all very natural, it seems, for him. And he reminds me of a guy very near and dear to your heart, Matt Forte. Doesn't flash anywhere particular, doesn't wow you at any time, but just good at everything, catches the ball well, very fluid when he catches the ball. Like everything seems easy for James Cook when the ball's in his hand. And that's what I like about him. There's no he doesn't have these big jukes. He jukes. It's in the motion of him running, which I think is one of his strengths. Great receiver out of the backfield. I feel like it's overplayed though. 40 targets, 33 receptions. He's a running back though. 309 carries, 1,600 yards on the ground. I think it's undersold, even to me, before looking at the numbers of how much of a running back he is.
That's 2 straight seasons of it.
He's a running back.
He's a bell cow.
But he also, that's not a lot of receptions, targets. Like he could really skyrocket next year. He could be that running back that still runs 319 times and gets 66 receptions.
It reminds me of Forte a lot because Forte I had in Dynasty, I don't know if you remember, I had Forte for like a nice 4-year run.
Yeah.
When there was a guy with the Texans prior or same time as
Harriet Foster.
Yeah, was that guy too that you were like
just always produced.
I love
smooth runner, fluid.
I love the comparison to Forte in the fact that they're both effortless, but who Cook truly reminds me of because it's another guy that we had that perception that not only was he great in the backfield.
Is it Jamal?
No,
Okay.
but he's also a pass catching back. But if you break down his numbers, CJ2K didn't really have a whole lot of receptions.
Yeah, that's true.
CJ2K was this guy that was the bell cow back.
He was electric too.
Gets through that first level of defense. He's
Makes
to
hell
the
of a
second
coffee,
level,
too.
and he's already got in his mind what he's going to do when he's gone. It's impossible to catch.
The comparison for me to Forte is just consistency. Like I knew what Forte was going to give me. Like he wasn't going to get 8 receptions in the game. He's going to get 4 or 5, but they were going to pop.
They were going to
He's going to run the ball well. He's going to score a touchdown. And I feel like James Cook has done 2 years of that already.
Yeah.
Really. And I think we could see another 3 years for him.
Well, I think when you look at what all the top probably like 5 to 6 have on our list, they're as likely to break it in a reception as they are in a run.
Yeah.
But you feel pretty certain when you start them, I'm getting a touchdown this game.
Yeah.
Somehow.
That's fair. And I had Cook at 4. I didn't mention that. But we'll move on. We'll move to number 3. This is the only place where I have guys flipped. But consensus-wise, we have JT, Jonathan Taylor at 3. Rocky, where'd you have him?
I had him right at 3. The only concern I had about JT going into this year is, can he stay healthy? But he did. And looking at him, like he's only missed 13 games total now in his career. So, he's not old, but he's not young. And he's starting to prove that he can stay healthy.
He's in his prime, basically.
JT's another guy like Cooks, like they're just consistent. They're going to be featured both air and on the ground. I don't think you can go wrong with JT.
So I do love JT. 2 concerns. First one, how Rocky spelled his name on the board. Second concern to me is that come fantasy playoff time, he let me down.
Jonathan Taylor Thompson. I mean,
he put
Taylor.
Yeah, well.
The second thing is that come fantasy playoff time, he really did let me down. As we all know, for fantasy players, end of year leaves bad taste in your mouth for the upcoming season.
Don't you think the Colts let you down though? It
well,
was less him and
yeah, but but that's where I drafted him. I drafted him to be that guy at the end of the year, and at the end of the year, I just didn't get that production, and because of it, cost me some money, right? So it always leaves a bad taste. So next year, I'm going to have to convince myself, hey, Taylor is still who he is. He is still the dynamic running back that they lean on. He showed this year early in the season, hey, get me the ball and I'm going to make good things happen. A lot of production out of him early in the season before that end of the year letdown. Who knows what's going to go on a quarterback next year? Hopefully, Daniel Jones comes back healthy. Anthony Richardson's out of the picture. Phillip Rivers, I don't know. Maybe we're saying his eulogy by next year. Who knows?
Wow.
But
man has kids. A lot of them.
Understatement. But I think JT will be that consistent production in that offense, even though they do have a very explosive wide receiver core.
I mean, it's JT. I had him at 2. I had him over Gibbs. We'll talk about Gibbs in a second. I'll tell you why. But yeah, you guys said everything. Not young, not old. Prime. This is prime years for JT. This season coming up and the year after, I think you're going to see the highest production you get from him. Obviously, unless he gets injured. I just think he's in a perfect spot. They're going to bring Jones back. They have to bring Jones back. When he's on the field with him, similar to when he was healthy with Saquon, opens running lanes because the threat of the run. As long as he's healthy, I think Jonathan Taylor picks up where he left off. We don't have to over labor ourselves talking about Jonathan Taylor. He's healthy. They get their quarterback healthy. I see him easily as a top 3 running back. Like I said, I had him at 2. But speaking of which, we'll go to number 2. Our RB2 consensusly is Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I had him.
Where you had him?
I had him right at 2. Well, I'm not going to belabor the point. When you get to these top, everybody knows the only difference between Gibbs and some of the other guys we talked about in this vicinity is just absolutely electric speed. Like his measurables are right where all these other guys are, but he's also just a hair faster. And you can see it on the field when he makes a one cut sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's my only addition for why I put Gibbs there.
So I have Gibbs at 2 as well, based just on this is pure athleticism. That is what Jahmyr Gibbs is. Towards the end of the season, we did see that he can be a product of what that offense looks like. Again, another guy towards the end of the year that probably let you down a little bit compared to what you were typically seeing from him scoring wise, not only last year, but at the beginning of this year. we can really see what the detraction of Ben Johnson looked like in that offense, as well as Gibbs. To me, this past season didn't seem to be as involved as he was the previous season, or at least used correctly. However, it's Jahmyr Gibbs, man. He's the fastest running back in the league. He can break any run at any point. It's a matter of, for me, keeping the defenses honest. They usually do a pretty good job with that with Amon-Ra and Jamison Williams. I know from the tight end production standpoint and also blocking standpoint, they lost a little bit, with a couple of guys being injured. Expect Gibbs to be back next year at his top peak form. And I do see him, especially finishing third in that division. Their strength of schedule is going to be comparatively easy in relation to how explosive their offense is. So look for Gibbs to have a huge season next year.
Yeah, not a lot I can add, but I will add why I had him at 3 and Taylor at 2. I've talked about it the last few weeks a bunch. I talked about it before this season. So I am patting myself on the back. I did say this about the Lions. I think trajectory wise for both of these teams, I think we're going a little bit either down or kind of staying static for the Lions where they are. Remains to be seen if they're going to pop back up, but I think Indy's kind of on the rise as for those offenses. I don't know where Detroit's going to go for their OC next season. If they're keeping things status quo, or they're bringing in somebody else. There was a downtick in things for Gibbs. Not enough for me to take him out of my top 3, but enough for me to say I think next year is kind of Taylor's year. I think he'll challenge Bijan right there at the top, as long as these guys are healthy. But Gibbs certainly a fine pick. Can't argue with you if you take him at 2. I just prefer Taylor next season as opposed to Gibbs. So we'll move on to RB1, which I'm sure you all know. Don't hold your breath here. Bijan Robinson. Tell us some good things about Bijan Robinson, Rocky.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who everybody said he's the number 1 running back in the league and showed it the last couple seasons, and then said about game 12 this year that the NFL was starting to slow down for him. And so when I heard that, I said, holy crap, like this guy, we could be talking about a generational running back. So I dug deep into his stats. Here's a guy that had 287 touches on the ground, 7 touchdowns, 5-yard plus average. And then he had 103 targets.
Yes.
I want a receiver that gets 103 targets.
Yeah.
And this guy has got all those touches on the ground. And oh, by the way, that was an off year. The year before he had more. The sky's the limit for this guy. I think he continues to get used in the passing game. I think you can make the case that he was the best wide receiver on the Falcons last year. He had a 10.4 yard average and he only had 4 TDs. I think that can go up. No. Like, I think this is a guy that if he puts together that truly magical season, he might get close to 80 receptions for 8 touchdowns, might have another 8 touchdowns on the ground. There's just the sky's the limit with this guy. Scary, scary human being.
So I'm not going to speak a whole lot about Bijan Robinson because I fear that anything comes out of my mouth will be understated compared to what you should truly think about Bijan. Bijan is a generational talent. He did say that the game has slowed down. The last 3 weeks showed that. Yeah. This guy is scary in any form. The only thing that will slow Bijan down over the course of the next 5 years would be a catastrophic injury. Other than that, Bijan is at the top of your leaderboard the next 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And it can only get better as they ushered out that last coaching regime, and now they're going to bring in somebody that's more fit for Robinson than Robinson is fit for them.
I mean, can you imagine if they get a quarterback? Because I don't think Penix is a quarterback. I think they actually operated better with Kirk Cousins last year. Yeah. My gosh, if they get a quarterback,
Kyler Murray. Hey, so my only thing here with Bijan is I don't want to say more good stuff. He's amazing. 4 fumbles, got to clean that up. I mean, you hate that. You hate when you're in a tight fantasy game, fumble, you'd lose by 1 point. It's just BS. That's the only knock I could have. They played their schedule. I'm looking over their schedule. 2 tough road games is when he had his lowest output. I think that might be more of a Falcons thing than a Bijan thing, but he happens to play on the Falcons, so it's something to look at. 9.6 points, 8.8, and 2.8 versus Miami. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, but I mean, he's RB1. Just clean up the fumbles, get a decent quarterback in there. I don't know if Kyler Murray's a decent quarterback, but he does threaten with his feet, which could help out with Bijan, but I think his targets would go down a little bit. Yeah. Bijan Robinson, RB1. That's the show. If you like the show, you like the rankings, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check us out. We have all our episodes on YouTube and everywhere you listen to podcasts. We'll be covering wide receivers top 12. We have the QB episode up already. And follow us throughout the season. We'll be putting out episodes every week leading up to the draft, to our live draft coverage on draft night. And we'll be helping you draft your teams. A lot of the guys that Mark works with, they're drafting in like 2 weeks probably already.
Dude, we're already talking about it.
Yeah.
It'll be 2 weeks. They'll open up like the best balls for next year.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So stay tuned. Let us make fantasy fun again for you. We love you. Peace.